With Memorial Day weekend here, families are hitting the roads and lakes to celebrate. And with schools letting out and the big Thunder game happening downtown, law enforcement is reminding everyone to stay vigilant.
There is so much going on. In our Eye on Safety, Lisa is joined by the Oklahoma County Sheriff Tommy Johnson with reminders for families. Lisa, good morning.
Well, Robin and Lacey, new safety concerns are rising this morning after an attack at the Myriad Gardens overnight. Right now, Oklahoma City police are investigating that sexual assault, and at last check, the suspect is still out there. Sheriff Tommy Johnson joining us in studio this morning, and that's where I want to start. People may be concerned. A lot of folks are expecting to go to the Paycom Center tonight for the Thunder game. We're hearing about this attack that happened. What advice would you give to folks who are going to the game tonight?
What I would always say is, hey, travel in a pack. You know, we are always stronger together. Let's travel in a group. Let's be vigilant, have our eyes on our surroundings so we are aware of where we're at all the time. I am not ignorant to the fact that people are going to go to this game. They're going to enjoy adult beverages, and I want you to do that. Go and cheer on the Thunder and be loud and proud for them. But don't get so intoxicated to the point that you can't take care of yourself. And let's have somebody just watch over each other.
It's important to mention when you talk about the potential for a DUI.
Yes.
We see those numbers go up often as we head into holiday weekends like the Memorial Day weekend. I know that you guys are big on enforcing DUIs. What will you be doing this weekend to keep the roads safe?
We will certainly have our deputies out everywhere in Oklahoma County to keep the roads safe. We are no excuse on DUI because there are so many alternatives out there with the rideshare programs we have, with taxis, and certainly with just being able to call a good friend to come and pick you up. We think those are all responsible decisions. I want people to have a good time, but let's do it responsibly.
Does it surprise you that we're still seeing DUIs in this day and age?
You know, it does, especially with everything that we got. You know,
Yes.
You can Uber, you can do whatever on your phone, just make it easy. But, you know, people still take that risk, and it costs them quite a bit.
One thing that you and I have had an opportunity to speak about is the DUI doesn't just happen on the roadways.
No, ma'am.
A lot of people are going to be at the lake this weekend. We want to make sure everyone stays safe on the water. What advice do you have for folks?
And I'm glad you brought that up. So DUIs do exist on the waterways. We call them BUIs. It's kind of funny, boating under intoxication. But no, it's really cool, but it can still happen there. So be mindful. Let's have a sober driver when we're operating these vessels. Life jackets. Let's have enough life jackets for everybody on the boat. I always say keep a charger with you for your phone. In the event that something happens with your boat, you can call and ask for help. I remember I was out on the water myself, our boat went down, and that's one of the things that helped us. We were able to get off the water safely was because someone had a charger, and you know, we were able to call for some assistance. So, you know, make sure we have a sober driver. Make sure we have life jackets, chargers, all the things necessary to have a fun and safe time on the waterway.
We know law enforcement across the metro will be more vigilant in pulling over drivers that are drinking. But what about the folks at home? You know, we have last day of school for Oklahoma City Public Schools and all the surrounding schools, as well as graduations happening. So there's likely going to be some parties. What advice would you give to folks who are having kiddos come to their home to celebrate the end of the school year?
What I would tell them is, parents, we got to really monitor our kiddos and know what they're doing, because there is a law on the books called social hosting. And social hosting is when we create an environment for young people under the legal limit. They are allowed to drink and, you know, indulge in adult beverages. And with that, a lot of parents don't know that regardless if you know about this or not, the fact that if this happens on your property, you are still responsible if they are caught. And so let's be mindful. We want our kids to have a good time as well, but no drinking for them.
Fun and safe.
Yes.
All right. We appreciate the insight this morning, Sheriff. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
If you have a question for the sheriff, or you have any questions about any other safety issue in our community, you can send an email to ionsafety@griffin.news and we'll get you some answers.